All right. Now we are going to start with this reading test, and we will solve all the tests together. We will answer all 40 questions, and we are going to see the location of each and every answer. First, we will see how to read and understand the question, how to find the clue word in the question, and then how to scan the clue word in the passage. Right? So we are going to go through this test all together. What you need to do, try to understand as much as possible for now, right? And secondly, even if you don't understand, you need to locate the answer. For example, if I say the answer of question number 2 is in second paragraph, third line, this line, so you can just write question number over there so that you actually know where the answer is or the location of the answer, which is important. When we start from part 1 is simple and straightforward. Then part 2 is more difficult. Part 3 is extremely difficult. The level of difficulty increases. Okay. So let's get started. First, we have the title. Whenever you read or whenever you start your reading, first read the title. The title is Thylacine, and we don't understand what Thylacine is. If you don't understand, then you need to read the first line. The extinct thylacine, also known as Tasmanian tiger. Now we understand thylacine is a tiger. Okay, so it's all about a tiger, Tasmanian tiger, and they will tell us about the tiger. This much is enough. Now we are going to come to questions. Questions 1 to 5, they are notes completion. Complete the notes below, choose one word only. So it's a very good idea to start from these question types. Questions 6 to 13, they are true, false, not given. And by the way, for both question types, one word only and true, false, not given, questions and answers are going to be in order. Once you find one answer, you read on, you will find the next answer, then the next answer. They are in order. So that is why try your level best to finish reading part 1 within 15 or even less than that. And you can do it. I mean, if you have average time 1 minute per question, in 13 minutes you can finish part 1. Part 1 is not as difficult as other parts, especially part 2 and part 3. Now we come to questions 1 to 5. Please follow me. Complete the notes below. Choose one word only from the passage, Thylacine. Appearance and behavior, and they mentioned dog. We just underline the word dog. In the second bullet point, they underline the word body and tail. Now, then they talk about its eating, and they mentioned here ate an entirely dash diet. Entirely dash diet mean type of diet. So we go back, look for the word dog in first paragraph. Can you see dog? First paragraph, second line, dog is there. Now come to second paragraph and look for the word feeding. Feeding. Second paragraph, second line after full stop. In terms of feeding, it was exclusively carnivorous. Now carnivorous is an animal that eats only meat. Carnivorous, okay? So in terms of feeding, it was exclusively carnivorous. Come back to the question. Exclusively carnivorous means ate an entirely carnivorous diet. Okay? So carnivorous, like tigers, lions, they are all carnivorous. So correct answer for question number 1 is carnivorous. As they mentioned, ate an entirely. For entirely, they use the word exclusively. Exclusively carnivorous. Okay, it was exclusively carnivorous and its stomach was muscular and all that. Now, we come to question number 2. Probably depended mainly on dash when hunting. Now, imagine a tiger is hunting and tiger is depending on one thing for hunting. It can be an ability or a quality that the tiger has. Now, we go back. All right, now we are going to see during hunting which ability or skill they actually use. So it's second paragraph. Can you see the word? The thylacine was not a fast runner. Fifth line. Second paragraph, fifth line. Thylacine was not a fast runner and probably caught its prey. Now, prey is related to hunting. P-R-E-Y, prey. By exhausting it during a long pursuit. During long distance chases, thylacines were likely to have relied more on scent than any other sense. Rely more on. What does it mean? That means they depend on. Rely more on means depended mainly on. What should be the answer? Answer is scent. Scent means the smell. All right, let's go on. We have question number 3. Young spent first months of life. Young means the young of thylacine, tiger. The young or the babies. Young spent first months of their life inside its mother's dash. Now it's going to be mother's part of body where it spent first months. We come back. Look for cubs, babies, small, newborns. Third paragraph. Well done. Very good. Please come to third paragraph and we read it from second line. The thylacine, like all marsupials, was tiny and hairless when born. Newborns, now newborns means young. Newborns crawled into the pouch on the belly of their mother. What is the answer? Belly is the answer. Come on. Answer is pouch. Okay? Yeah, be sensible. They've been born now. So answer is pouch. Like a kangaroo has a pouch. In the same way, even thylacines, they have a pouch. So they live in the pouch with the belly of their mother. All right. That's great. So correct answer is pouch. Well done. Next, decline and extinction. Decline and extinction. Now they will talk about it because this animal thylacine is no more. Not like dinosaur, it is an extinct. So they talk about decline and extinction. Last evidence in mainland Australia is a 3,100-year-old dash. Now listen, what is 3,100-year-old? Okay, maybe they found a part of thylacine, 3,100-year-old bone or skeleton or anything like that. Now look for the word 3,100-year-old. Good. Now it's important to see what is 3,100-year-old. So it's the last paragraph and I'm going to read it from second line after full stop. The most recent, well-dated occurrence of a thylacine on the mainland is a carbon-dated fossil from Murray Cave in Western Australia, which is around 3,100 years old. Now tell me, what is 3,100 years old? Fossil or cave or what? Fossil. Well done. Fossil is actually the remnants of animals or plants or anything like that. So we call it fossil. Correct answer is fossil. You know, they've mentioned which is around. Which is around means fossil is around 3,100 years old. All right, let's go on. Question number 5. Decline and extinction. Reduction in dash. Now reduction in what? And available sources of food were partly responsible for decline in Tasmania. Two things, reduction in food and reduction in something else. Please come to second page. Second page, first paragraph, they say dramatic decline of thylacine. So they talk about decline. Which began in 1830s and all that. Okay. Now, please come to this third last line. These include competition with wild dogs introduced by European settlers. Okay. So the reasons actually, these include means the reasons. Why did they decline? One is competition with wild dogs, then loss of habitat, along with the disappearance of prey species. Prey species means food. Prey means hunt. So what should be the answer? One thing is competition with wild dogs. Second is loss of habitat. Habitat means place to live. Third thing is disappearance of prey species. So we come back. Question is reduction in dash and available sources. Available sources means prey species and all that of food were partly responsible for decline in Tasmania. Habitat. Well done. Reduction in habitat. Correct answer is habitat. I want you to come to same second page, first paragraph, third line after comma. Can you see it is likely that? Second page, first paragraph, third line after comma. It is likely that. Last four words. Please follow me from here. It is likely that various other factors also contributed to the decline and eventual extinction of the species. And then they say these include. Then they mentioned these factors. All right, so we are done with questions 1 to 5, and now we are going to proceed questions 6 to 13, and let's see how to deal with them. Okay, true, false, not given questions and answers in the passage, they are in order. Once you find one answer, read on, maybe same paragraph or the next paragraph will contain the answer. In the sentence or the statement of true, false, not given, there will be a word or there will be a phrase which is going to decide whether the answer is true or false or not given. And one important thing, divide the sentence into 3 parts. For example, question number 6, significant numbers of thylacines were killed by human from 1830s onwards. Now, if a large number of thylacines were killed by human, answer is true. If they were killed by another wild animal or another catastrophe, not human, answer is false. And if they don't tell us who killed significant number of thylacines, answer is not given. So you need to divide the statement into 3 parts like this. Okay. Now 1830s is our clue word. And we go back to the passage, second page, first line. Found it? 1830s is there. So please follow me. The dramatic decline of thylacine in Tasmania, which began in 1830s and continued for a century, is generally attributed to the relentless effort of sheep farmers and bounty hunters. Now, who are sheep farmers and bounty hunters? Human. And you know what is bounty hunter? If you kill a lion, we'll give you $10,000. So bounty hunter is, if you kill a thylacine, we will give you $5,000. So they go out to find thylacine and kill, because thylacine was a threat to farmers, especially sheep farmers, when they had their sheep and all that. This animal was wild tiger, so it used to eat the other stuff. So bounty hunter is the one who gets the reward. Okay, for example, if somebody kills someone for money, there is some money on someone's head, and the person kills that person, he is a bounty killer. So bounty hunter and bounty killer. Now what should be the answer? Answer is true. They said relentless efforts of sheep farmers and bounty hunters with shotgun. So significant numbers of thylacine were killed by human, and these human were bounty hunters and sheep farmers. They killed them. Question number 7. Several thylacines were born in zoos during late 1800s. Now look here. If several thylacines were born in zoo, answer is true. If 1 or 2 were born, answer is false. And if they don't tell us several or few, answer is not given. Now we look for zoo, 1800s and all that. Second paragraph. Okay, late 1800s means 1899. Late 1800. What is early 1800? 1801, 02, 03. What is mid 1800? 1850. Okay, like this. Now let's check. There was only one successful attempt to breed a thylacine in captivity. How many? One successful attempt to breed thylacine in captivity at Melbourne Zoo in 1899. Now tell me, several? No, only one. So what should be the answer? Answer is false. Got it now? What to check and how to check and all that. Question number 8. John Gould's prediction about thylacine surprised some biologists. Now, John Gould is our clue word. If his prediction surprised biologists, answer is true. If they were expecting what he said, answer is false. And if they don't tell us whether surprised or not, then answer is not given. Okay? So please come back. Look for John Gould. Well done. It's the second page, second paragraph, third line after zoo. The famous naturalist John Gould foresaw. Foresaw means to see something before it happens. The thylacine's demise when he published his Mammals of Australia between 1848 and 1863, writing the numbers of the singular animal will speedily diminish. Extermination will have its full sway, and it will then, like the wolf of England and Scotland, be recorded as an animal of the past. Now, have they mentioned anything that John Gould's prediction is mentioned, but have they mentioned that it surprised biologists or not? There is no mention. Remember, John Gould's prediction is given, but the prediction surprised the biologists or did not surprise the biologists. There is no information on that. That is why the answer is not given. Well done. Question number 9. In the early 1900s, many scientists became worried. Now underline became worried about the possible extinction of thylacine. Extinction means this animal may die out. Die out means to finish forever. Now listen, if scientists were worried, answer is true. If scientists did not care or if they were not worried, answer is false. And if they don't tell us whether the scientists were worried or they were not worried, then answer is not given. Okay? So please come back. Second last paragraph. However, second page, second last paragraph. However, there seems to have been little public pressure to preserve the thylacine, nor was much concern expressed by scientists. Nor was much concern. So were they worried? They were not worried. So what should be the answer? Answer is false. Well done. Question number 10. T.T. Flynn's proposal to rehome captive thylacines on the island proved to be impractical. Now, proved to be means they acted upon the proposal and the proposal was impractical. Impractical means which you cannot do. Something which cannot be done. We call it impractical. Okay. Now, if T.T. Flynn's proposal to rehome captive thylacine proved to be impractical. Focus the word proved. Right? This is very important. Proved to be impractical. Answer is true. And if it proved to be practical, answer is false. And if they don't tell us whether it is practical or impractical and there is no proof, they don't mention any proof, right? Then answer will be not given. Okay? Now we go back and we find T.T. Flynn. Can you see T.T. Flynn? Yes. Second last paragraph, third line. A notable exception was T.T. Flynn, professor of biology at the University of Tasmania in 1914. He was sufficiently concerned about the scarcity of the thylacine to suggest that some should be captured and placed on a small island. This is his proposal. Now what do we need to check? whether his proposal proved practical or impractical. We read on. But it was not until 1920, with the species on the very edge of extinction, that Tasmania's Animals and Bird Protection Board passed a motion protecting thylacine only for a few months of December and all that. Now tell me, did they act upon his proposal? He only suggested. Now, when they did not act upon his proposal, is there any information that the proposal proved to be practical or impractical? There is no information. So what is the answer? Not given. Because they did not act upon the proposal. When they did not act upon the proposal, there is no proof. There is no mention whether it was practical, whether it proved to be practical or impractical. So correct answer is not given. Question number 11. There were still reasonable numbers of thylacine in existence when a piece of legislation protecting the species during their breeding season was passed. Now listen, they passed a law that during the breeding season they will not kill thylacine or anything. Now at the time or by the time they passed the law, if there were still reasonable number of thylacine, reasonable means enough thylacine, quite a lot of thylacine. If the number was reasonable, answer is true. If the number was small, if they say few were left when the law was passed, answer is false. And if they don't tell us when the law was passed, the number of thylacine was reasonable or unreasonable. Reasonable means quite a lot. Unreasonable means few. Then it is not given. So please come back. Can you see the word 1929? Okay, and there they talk about this law and all that. So please follow me. Okay, now I'm reading from here, but it was not until 1920. I'm reading from the middle. Same paragraph, second last from the middle, 1920. But it was until 1920 with the species on the very edge of extinction. Now tell me, when an animal species is at the very edge of extinction, so is there a reasonable number left or unreasonable number left? Unreasonable. Extinction means 2, 3, 5 are left and then they are going to die out. Die out means na paid ho jana. Okay, so they say here, but it was not until 1920 when the species means thylacine, on the very edge of extinction, Tasmania's Animal and Birds Protection Board passed a motion. So when they passed a law, what happened? The species was the very edge of extinction. Now we come back to the question. There were still reasonable number of thylacines? No. Okay, they were at the very edge of extinction. So answer is false. Well done. Question number 12. From 1930 to 1936, the only known living thylacine were all in captivity. Now, for example, between 1930 to 36, all the living thylacine, they were in the zoo only. I mean, in the jungle, they were not there. Okay, so we go back and we see 1930 to 1936. Same paragraph. Can you see 1930? Okay. Now, let's just read it. I'm reading it from fourth last line. The last known wild thylacine. Found it? Let's read from here. The last known wild thylacine to be killed was shot by a farmer in the northeast of Tasmania in 1930, leaving just captive specimens. Okay, so the last in the wild was killed by the farmer and leaving just captive specimens. Official protection of the species by Tasmanian government was introduced in July 1936, 59 days before the last known individual died in Hobart Zoo on 7th September. So what happened? In 1930, a farmer killed the last thylacine which was in the wild, in the jungle. And then what happened? Leaving just captive specimens. Captive specimens means few thylacines which were in the zoo. They were left. Okay. Now we come back. What's the question? From 1930 to 1936, The only known living thylacines were all in captivity. What is the answer? Answer is true. Why true? Because see, in 1930, when a farmer killed the last thylacine in the forest, okay, so then they say just leaving just captive specimen. Leaving just captive specimen means few were left and they were in the zoo. Okay, so from 1930 to 1936, all the thylacine in the world were only those which were in the zoo. So correct answer for that is true. Question number 13. Attempts to find living thylacine are now rarely made. Like even today, they are trying to find thylacine. Okay, so if they are trying to find thylacine even today, answer is true. If they stop, now for example, if somebody says, I'm going to look for dinosaurs, I'm going to Gilgit to find dinosaurs, what you call that person? Silly. Because dinosaur is extinct. Extinct means no more dinosaurs on planet Earth. So the question is, attempts to find living thylacines are now rarely made. That even today, sometimes they go and they try to look for thylacine. Now we go back. Last paragraph. There have been numerous expeditions and searches for the thylacine over the years, none of which has produced definitive evidence that thylacines still exist. Now these efforts were made in the past, not now. Then the species was declared extinct by Tasmanian government in 1986. So species was declared extinct. No more thylacine on planet Earth. Right? Now tell me, have they mentioned anything that attempts to find living thylacine are now rarely made? Is there any information on that? Because the species is extinct now. So when it is extinct, and they did not mention that even today, rarely they go and they check whether any thylacine is alive or not. So there is no information on that. That is why the answer is not given. Okay? Yeah. Now we have second passage and the title is palm oil. Palm oil. So we use palm oil commonly, right, in many products, especially in cooking and all that. Now, the bad news is passage is labeled A, B, C, D, E. So whenever the passage is labeled, there will be some questions which I call type B questions. Type B questions are only two in IELTS. One is which paragraph contains the following information, and second is list of headings, where questions and answers are not in order. They are in random order and you have to find them. So whenever passage is labeled, these two question types come. Either it is list of headings or which paragraph contains the following information. Now please come to questions. Yeah, I told you 14 to 20. Reading passage 2 has 8 sections A to H. Which section contains the following information? So 14 to 20. If you start with these questions, your test will be destroyed. You know how? For each question, you have to check all the passage. Then you read another question, then you have a round of all the passage. So if you start with it, it may eat all your energies, all your time, all your brain powers, and your brain will be exhausted for doing the rest of the questions. Then you can see 21, 22. What type of question is that? It's a double multiple choice question, where out of 5 you have to select 2 options. Okay, they are type A, where questions and answers are in order. Then we have questions 23 to 26, sentence completion. So where should we start from? 23 to 26, sentence completion. We start from here. 4 questions we can pocket here. Then we come back to list of multiple choice. And finally, we can go to questions 14 to 20. It is advisable if you read questions 14 to 20 first, so that when you are answering other questions, you may come across something related to these questions. So if you read and retain, if you have good retention, retention means you keep the question in mind, then you can do it. But otherwise, you can do it at the end. Anyways, let's get started. Question number 23. No more than 2 words. Maximum 2 and minimum 1. One advantage of palm oil for manufacturers is that it stays. What do they mean by it? Palm oil. It stays dash even when not refrigerated. Now let's go back. One advantage. Start from the first paragraph. One advantage. It stays refrigerated. First paragraph, 4th line after full stop. Why is palm oil so attractive for manufacturers? See, another clue word is manufacturers. So manufacturers is your clue word, and you can just find it in the first paragraph, 4th line. So why is palm oil so attractive for manufacturers? Primarily because its unique properties, such as remaining solid at room temperature. What's the question? One advantage of palm oil for manufacturers is that it stays. Stays means remaining. It stays, what is the answer? Solid. Even when not refrigerated. Not refrigerated means room temperature. Well done. So correct answer is solid. Question number 24. The dash is the best known of animals. Now answer is going to be an animal. The dash is the best known of animals suffering habitat loss as a result of the spread of oil palm plantation. Habitat loss means, habitat means a place to live for an animal, right? So habitat loss means one animal is losing its place to live because of palm oil and all that. What is the name of that animal? Please come back. Look for the word habitat, habitat loss, or anything like that. One animal that is, yeah, the dash is the best known of the animals suffering habitat loss. Okay, please come to paragraph C. C for cat. Okay, I'm reading paragraph C, and we are going to read it from, okay, let's read it from 2nd line after full stop. There are countless news, found it? Okay, stories of deforestation, habitat, that's the clue word, habitat destruction and dwindling species populations, all as a direct result of land clearing to establish oil palm tree monoculture and on industrial scale, particularly in Malaysia and Indonesia. Endangered species. Now listen, we are going to find an animal which is particularly losing its habitat. Endangered species, most famously Sumatran orangutan. So what is the answer? Sumatran orangutan. Okay, even if you cannot read, doesn't matter. Most famously. And what is the word for most famously? Best known. Best known and most famously, they are synonyms. Correct answer is Sumatran actually. No, Sumatran. Yeah. Sumatran orangutan. That's the name. You can check it on Google or YouTube, Sumatran orangutan. Question number 25. As one of its criteria for the certification of sustainable palm oil, the RSPO. Now look for RSPO. Can you see RSPO? Come on, scan. You can easily find RSPO, all capital letters, in paragraph G. Well done. Now this is the location. And have you noticed long jump? They have jumped. But we had a clue word. So because of clue word, we've reached there. All right. So they say here, one of its criteria. Its criteria means RSPO's criteria for the certification of sustainable palm oil, RSPO insists that growers check dash on a routine basis. Routine basis means regularly. So growers should check something regularly. Please come to paragraph G. I'm reading RSPO. So we go on. Please come to fifth line where you see as officially sustainable. Found it? Paragraph G for God, fifth line, as officially sustainable. The RSPO insists upon no virgin forest clearing, transparency, and regular assessment of carbon stocks. Regular assessment of carbon stocks, so that growers check dash on a routine basis. What is routine basis? Regular assessment. Okay, so check is assessment and routine basis is no routine basis regular, exactly, and correct answer is carbon stocks. Now only carbon will be wrong, only stocks will be wrong. You need to write carbon stocks. Question number 26. Elwood and his researchers are looking into whether the bird's nest fern could restore. Now bird's nest fern, maybe it's a kind of bird. Bird's nest fern could restore, or bird or plant, I'm not sure. Restore dash in areas where oil palm trees are grown. So bird's nest fern could restore. Restore means to recover. Look for bird's nest fern. Last paragraph, and you can find bird's nest fern. Okay, I'm reading it from fourth last line. Elwood believes. Found it? Paragraph H, fourth last line. Elwood believes that reintroducing the bird's nest fern into oil palm plantations could potentially allow these areas to recover their biodiversity. Recover. What is the word for recover? Restore. Excellent. And answer is biodiversity. All right. So now we go back to questions 21 and 22. And the questions are choose two letters from A to E. Write the correct letters in boxes 21 and 22 on your answer sheet. Which two statements are made about the round table on sustainable palm oil? So, two statements about RSPO. Now, what we are going to do, we are going to look for RSPO and we will see their statements, and then we will come back to options. Don't read options before you read the passage for multiple choice questions. Okay? So, let's go back. RSPO. It is paragraph G. Now we are going to read it from the beginning because we need to find two statements. And remember, you are going to answer two questions. If it takes 2 minutes, it doesn't matter because you are answering two questions. Okay? Now let's start. Paragraph G from the beginning. The industry is now regulated by a group called RSPO, consisting of palm growers, retailers, product manufacturers, and other interested parties. Over the past decade or so, an agreement has gradually been reached regarding standards that producers of palm oil have to meet in order for their product to be regarded as officially sustainable. Now, one thing is they have reached a kind of, standard. Okay, they've agreed on a standard, they've reached an agreement, one thing. Second, RSPO insists upon no virgin forest cutting, transparency. Transparency means everything should be fair. There should not be any hanky-panky. Okay? Transparency and regular assessment of carbon stocks among other criteria. And then they talk about CSPO. So we just come back. Now we go through the options. Option A, its membership has grown steadily. Have they mentioned? Membership grown steadily. This is called elimination. So A should be crossed. Option B, it demands that certified producers be open and honest. Transparency. Open and honest. So first right answer is option B. Option C, it took several years to establish its set of criteria for sustainable palm oil certification. Yes or no? Absolutely yes. It took several years to establish its set of criteria. Please come back. Over the past decades or so. What is past decades or so? Huh? That is several years. Exactly. Over the past decade or so, an agreement has gradually been reached regarding standards. So that is option B. It took several years to establish its set of criteria. What is set of criteria? Standards, exactly. Set of criteria for sustainable palm oil certification. So second correct answer is option C. Then option D, its regulations regarding sustainability are stricter. They didn't mention. And option E, it was formed at the request of environmentalists. That is not mentioned. So correct answer is option B and option C. Now finally, the hardest part, and we will go through the passage, but I'll tell you what to look for in the passage. Question number 14, examples of a range of potential environmental advantages of oil palm tree cultivation. Look here, whenever they use the word examples, you need to look for something with comma. When they give example, they say, first of all, it will do this. Secondly, it will also do that. And finally, something like that. So examples of range of potential environmental advantages. Now, what is environmental advantage? If it reduces carbon dioxide, if it increases oxygen, all these are potential environmental advantages. Now, go back and see if they talk about benefits, advantages, profit. I give you some hint. Paragraph E, F, G, H. Paragraph E, F, G, H. Where do they talk about environmental benefits, environmental advantages? Just scan it. All right. Can you see paragraph F? Yes, paragraph F, even the first paragraph, section F, first paragraph, fifth line, there they say predominantly. Found it? Now the first benefit is predominantly. What makes it so profitable is potentially also an ecological benefit. One thing. Now come to section F, second paragraph, third line. Section F, second paragraph, third line after full stop. The more carbon a plant sequesters, the more it reduces the effect of climate change. It's another benefit. If it reduces the effect of climate change. Now, what is climate change? This is the month of November and still our ACs and fans are on. Okay, so they say the more carbon a plant sequesters, the more it reduces the effects of climate change. This is another benefit. One is ecological benefit and second is this one. So correct answer for question number 14 is F. Next we have question number 15. Description of an organization. You know it already. Description of an organization which controls the environmental impact of palm oil production. Paragraph G, RSPO. So you've read it already. Now you can answer it without any problem. So question number 15, correct answer is G. Question number 16, examples of the widespread global use of palm oil. Look for the names of countries, continents, cities. Widespread, global. Global means international, all over the world. Examples of widespread global use of palm oil. Global means all over the world. Examples means we use it in cooking, we use it in this, cleaning, we use it in that and all that. Check paragraphs A, B, C. Examples of widespread global use of palm oil. Okay, correct answer is paragraph A. And I tell you why and where. Examples of global use of palm oil. I'm reading from first line. Palm oil is an edible oil derived from the fruit of the African oil palm tree and is currently the most consumed vegetable oil in the world. Now this is global. Let's read on. It's almost certainly in the soap we wash with in the morning, the sandwich we have for lunch, the biscuits. Now what are they? Examples of global use of palm oil. That example is soap, sandwich, biscuits, and all that. So correct answer for question number 16 is A. Question number 17, reference to a particular species which could benefit the ecosystem of oil palm plantation. Now it can be the species of animal or plant. Reference to a particular species which could benefit the ecosystem of oil palm plantation. That is paragraph H. Well done. They talked about birds, nest, fern. Okay, and we did it already, by the way, when we were answering question 26. So we did it. So example of that species is in paragraph H. Please come to paragraph H. Second line after full stop. New research at Elwood's lab hints at one plant which might make all the difference. Now one plant means one species which make all the difference, and that is the bird's nest fern. So reference to a particular species which could benefit the ecosystem of oil palm plantation. Question number 17, answer is H. Question number 18, figures. Whenever they talk about figures, look for numbers, million, billion, whatever. Figures illustrating the rapid expansion of the palm oil industry. Figures, exactly. That is paragraph B. They use the word 6 to 17 million hectares. Hectares is, you know, how we measure earth, how we measure land. So they said 6 to 7 million hectares. So what is that? Figures illustrating the rapid expansion of the palm oil industry. If you want to see rapid expansion, let's read it together. Paragraph B, second line. From 1990 and 2012, the global land area devoted to growing oil palm trees grew from 6 to 17 million hectares. So 6 to 17 means expanding. Right? Correct answer for question number 18 is B. Question number 19. Economic justification for not opposing the palm oil industry. Economic justification means a lot of people earn their livelihood from here. People run their kitchen from this industry. So that is economic justification. Or they say the economy of the country depends on it. Now look for something where they say government depends on it, economy depends on it, people find jobs in this field and all that. So go to paragraphs E, F, G, H. Economic justification for not opposing the palm oil industry. That is paragraph E. One response to the boycott movement has been the argument. Now boycott movement means boycott palm oil, and one argument is that for the vital role palm oil plays in lifting many millions of people in the developing world out of poverty. So this is the justification for not opposing the palm oil industry. So question number 19, correct answer is E. Question number 20. Examples of creatures badly affected by the establishment of oil palm plantation. Look for a paragraph with the names of animals. A paragraph with the names of animals. That is C. Where we read Sumatran What is Sumatran? Orangutan, but also rhinos. One is rhino. Second, elephants. Third, tigers. Fourth, numerous other fauna. Fauna is animals, okay? So question number 20, correct answer is C. Right? Yeah. धुआं निकल रहा है ना कानों से या नाक से निकल रहा है? All right. Now we go on. The next topic is building the skyline. Now what is skyline? For example, you go to any country and you see the tall buildings there, or whatever you see, that is their skyline. Okay, whatever you see across the sky, we call it skyline. Building the skyline. The birth and growth of Manhattan's skyscrapers. Where is Manhattan? In America, of course, in America, okay? Yeah, it's Manhattan, not, yeah. So, birth and growth of Manhattan skyscrapers. In Manhattan, there are many skyscrapers. So, they will tell us about the birth, how they were born, they were created, and growth, how they grew in number, okay? So, this is all about that. Now, next thing is Catherine L. Chester reviews a book. Okay, this is the title of the book. What we read, it's the title of the book, and Catherine is going to review a book by Jason Barr. If they use the word Barr, Barr is the writer of the book, and Catherine Chester is the reviewer of the book. She reviews. So this is a book review which you are going to read about the development of New York City. So Manhattan is part of New York, right? And New York is part of America. Now, passage is not labeled. Good news. There will not be type B questions, but let's go back. Questions 27 to 31. Multiple choice questions. 5 of them. 32 to 35. Yes, no? No, and by the way, both types are type A. Multiple choice, they are type A. Yes, no, not given, they are also type A. And then we have 36 to 40, summary completion, but there is a SIAPA. What is that? Summary completion with a box. They have given a box. If they don't give a box, then it's simple. You find a word from the passage and you write it here. But now you will find a word in the passage, then you will match a synonym A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then you will write that label. Okay? So where should we start from? Say, jahan se marzi kar le, hame kya? All right. Okay, once the teacher was planning the second day in the class, the next day, and one student said, sir, tomorrow we will do this, we will do that also, we will do this and that and all that. And other students were saying, why are you deciding to do a lot of things in the class tomorrow? He said, I will not come tomorrow, that's why. So that doesn't matter. Now, let's start from here. Bedrock myth, questions 36 to 40. In chapter 7, okay, thank you so much, Tanwad. Chapter 7 means they have given us the clue word. Now look for chapter 7. Go back and look for chapter 7. Second page, fourth paragraph. This is called scanning. And if your scanning is good, you will reach quickly. Otherwise, you will be looking chapter 7. Now this is 1, 2, 3. You need to look for 7 directly. It's not necessary to reach 7. You go to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and all that. Now we read the question. In chapter 7, Barr, who is Barr? The writer. Barr indicates how the lack of bedrock close to the surface does not explain why skyscrapers are absent from dash. Now, why skyscrapers are absent? Absent means no skyscrapers. Okay, why skyscrapers are absent from somewhere? Now, please come to chapter 7. Why skyscrapers are absent from where? Please follow me now and read carefully. This is part 3. This English can become Chinese for you, I'm telling you. Okay? Chapter 7 tackles the bedrock myth. Another clue word, bedrock. The assumption that the absence of bedrock, now answer is not bedrock. They've used the word absence of bedrock, But you can see in the question they've used the word bedrock. So the word which is written in the question can never be the answer. We read on. Okay, absence of bedrock close to the surface between downtown and midtown New York is the reason for skyscrapers not being built between two urban centers. Not being built means absent or absence of them from where? Two urban centers. How many words? Okay, now we look for the synonym of two urban centers. Absolutely, two urban centers. What is the synonym of that? For centers, they use the word areas. For two urban, they use the word specific. So correct answer is option H. Two urban centers, and the synonym of that is specific areas. Now that's why I told you it's double trouble. Otherwise, you could write two urban centers, it's simple. But looking for the synonym of that may take additional effort. So correct answer is specific area, but you will write H. You will not write any word. If you write specific areas, you will get 0 for that. Okay, let's go on. He points out that although the cost of foundations increases when bedrock is deep below the surface. By the way, bedrock is from where they start constructing a skyscraper. They dig down almost 2, 3, 4, 500 feet and then they make a bedrock, and from there they start construction. So he points out, okay, increases when bedrock is deep below the surface. This cannot be regarded. What do they mean by this? Yeah, this means the cost of foundation increases. I mean, this means phenomena. When the cost increases, if you dig down, cost increases when bedrock is deep below the surface. Okay, so if you see a 100-story building, you don't know there are 20, 30 stories at the bottom as well, under the earth. Okay, so they say this cannot be regarded as, this means extra payment or cost of foundation. This cannot be regarded as dash. Now we go back. You will find all these answers in the same paragraph. I'm reading third line after two urban centers. Found it? Okay. Rather, Barr argues. Everybody found it? Okay. Barr argues that while deeper bedrock does increase foundation cost. Now be careful. These costs were neither prohibitively high nor were they large compared to the overall cost. Now they were neither high nor large compared to the overall cost. Now they use the word prohibitively high. What is prohibitively high? When something is excessively expensive. Okay, they said prohibitively high. So bedrock does not increase foundation cost. These costs were neither prohibitively high nor were they large compared to the overall cost. So prohibitively high. Look for the word for that. Well done. Excessive expense. Question number 37. Prohibitively high. That means excessive expense. And you will find the next answer in the same line. Especially when compared to dash. Well done. Compared to dash. Compared to what? Overall cost. Now look for the synonym of overall cost. Well done. Overall cost, total expenditure. So what will be the answer? Answer is I. See, you're dealing with reading part 3 advanced level English. Okay, so don't worry, practice will make you perfect. Next, a particularly enjoyable part of chapter, now same chapter 7, was Barr's account of how foundations are built. He describes not only how dash are made possible by use of cation. Now, not only dash are made possible, R means answer should be plural, by use of cation. Look for cation and not only something. So please come back. Good. Cation is in fourth last line. He describes. Found it? Same paragraph, fourth last line after full stop. He describes the use of cation. What do they do with it? Which enable workers to dig down. Dig down means to excavate and all that. To dig down. Now look for something for dig down. He describes not only how dig down are made possible by the use of cation. Dig down. Well done. Dig down is actually option B, deep excavation. Well done. Dig down and deep excavation. Dig is excavate and down is deep. So correct answer is option B. But he also discusses there. There means cations. There dash. So we come back. Dig down. I'm reading after dig down. For considerable distances, often below the water table, until they reach bedrock. Barr's thorough technological history discusses not only how cations work, but also the dangers involved. Now, dangers of cation. Look for dangers. Well done. Dangers, that is option F, associated risks. So correct answer is F. Yeah, that's easy. More like a video game you play. All right. Yeah. All right. I tell you one thing. You need to leave the question types where you can guess for the end, for the last minute. At times, you don't have time left. For example, questions 27 to 30 and 1 minute left, and you have to transfer the answers as well, so then you can guess. For example, 27 to 31, if you write all A's, at least 1 or 2 will be right. All B's, 1 or 2 will be right. Same, yes, no, not given. Right? When the time is running out, you can write all yes. All yes means 1 right answer. Okay? All no means 2 right answers. Something like that. So when you guess, don't guess first true, second false, third not given. No, all true. The ratio of true and false, yes and no is more than not given. So when you want to guess, write all no. At least 2 will be no and you will get marks for that. Okay? Yeah. All right. Now we do yes, no, not given. Yes, no, not given and true, false, not given, they are almost same. The only difference is for yes, no, you have to write yes, no. And for true, false, you have to write true, false. The one thing. Second, in true, false, not given, there is factual information. But in yes, no, let's read questions 32 to 35. Do the following statements agree with the claims of the writer? In yes, no, not given, we have the claims of the writer. Claim of the writer means what writer says in the passage. So we need to check writer's claims. Question number 32. Description in the first chapter. Now the clue word is first chapter. Where is that? Not first paragraph. Second paragraph. First chapter is there. This is called clue word. Okay, now let's read. Now we read the question carefully. Description, and one more thing. Unless you are clear about the question, you should not read the passage. You will waste your time, okay? We need to see what to read in the passage. Question number 32. Description in the first chapter of how New York probably looked from the air in the early 1600s. Now they will tell us in early 1600s from a helicopter, drone should not be there in 1600s, helicopter or aeroplane, how New York looked. Now if that description lacks interest, answer is yes. If that description is very interesting, answer is no. And if they don't tell us whether it lacks interest or not, answer is not given. Now we go back. Second paragraph, please follow me. Barr begins chapter 1 by taking the reader on a helicopter time machine ride, giving a fascinating account Fascinating account. And what's the question? Lacks interest. There they are saying fascinating. Fascinating is the opposite of lacks interest. So the answer is no, not false. Answer is no. Okay, for true false, if you write yes no, for yes no, if you write true false, your answers will be wrong. So correct answer is no. Question number 33, chapter 2. Chapters 2 and 3. Now we have two chapters. Chapters 2 and 3 prepare the reader well for material yet to come. Look here, look here, look here. You read chapters 2 and 3 and they prepare you for chapter 5, 6. Okay, they give you the basic information in chapter 2, 3 and then advanced information in chapter 4, 5. So if chapters 2, 3 prepare you for the next chapters, answer is yes. If they don't prepare you for the next chapters, answer is no, otherwise not given. Now please come back. Third paragraph. Can you see chapters 2 and 3? Third line. Civil war after full stop. Found it? Okay, found it? Both chapters. What do they mean by both chapters? 2 and 3. Well done. Both chapters are informative and well researched and set the stage for the economic analysis that comes later in the book. See that? 2 and 3, they prepare you for economic analysis and that will come later in the book. So, chapters 2 and 3 prepare the reader well for material yet to come. Answer is yes. Well done. Question number 34, biggest problem for many 19th century New York immigrant neighborhoods was a lack of amenities. Now, what are amenities? Electricity, gas, sewerage, water, and all that. Now, if the biggest problem was lack of amenities, answer is yes. If the biggest problem was some other, not amenities, answer is no. And if they don't tell us what the biggest problem was, answer is not given. So, biggest problem in 19th century. Now, please come back. Look for the word amenities. Amenities. Chapter 4. Well done. Second page, first paragraph. I'm reading from there. Chapter 4 focuses on immigration and the location of neighborhoods and tenements in the late 19th century. Barr identifies 4 primary immigrant enclaves and analyzes their locations in terms of the amenities available in the area. Most of these enclaves were located onto the... What should be the answer? Have they mentioned that the biggest problem was lack of amenities? Not given. So, lack of amenities is not mentioned. They only said in terms of amenities available in the area. Now, the biggest problem not mentioned and the biggest problem lack of amenities not mentioned. So, the answer is not given. Question number 35. In the 19th century, New York's immigrant neighborhoods tended to concentrate around the harbor. Now, if in 19th century, New York's immigrant neighborhoods mean the people who migrated and they lived in that area, tended to concentrate around the harbor. If they concentrated near the sea, they preferred the area near the sea. Answer is yes. If they preferred some other area, not harbor, answer is no. Otherwise, not given. So we come back, 19th century immigrant neighborhoods. Same paragraph. Same paragraph where we found the answer of 34. Most of these enclaves were located on the least valuable land. And where was that? Between the industries located on the waterfront and the wealthy neighborhoods bordering Central Park. So where were they located? Between the industries and the wealthy neighborhoods of bordering Central Park. Now, have they mentioned that they focused on harbor? No, they said they focused on between the industries located on the waterfront and the wealthy neighborhoods bordering Central Park. So what should be the answer? Answer should be no. It's not given because they mentioned the area. The area is between industries located. Okay, let's read it. Most of these enclaves, now these enclaves were immigrant enclaves, were located on the least valuable land. Now see, the land near the port is most valuable. Between the industries located on the waterfront. Now waterfront does not mean harbor. Okay. And the wealthy neighborhoods bordering Central Park. So correct answer for 35 is no. Now finally, we have multiple choice questions. Question number 27. What point does Chester make? Who is Chester? The reviewer, okay, that lady is Chester. What point Chester make about Barr's book in the first paragraph? Now we will go to first paragraph. We will see what point does Chester make and all that. So we've got first paragraph. I'm reading it from the beginning. In building the Skyline, Jason Barr takes the reader through a detailed history, underline that, detailed history of New York City. The book combines what? Geology, history, economics, and a lot of data to explain why business clusters developed, where they did, and how the early decisions of workers and firms shaped the skyline we see today. Now keep this in mind. The first thing is the book combines geology, history, economics, right? And then how and why, business and all that. Now please come back. What point does Chester make about Barr's book in first paragraph? Option A, it gives a highly original explanation for urban development. Yes or no? No, leave it. Option B, elements of Barr's research papers are incorporated throughout the book. They did not mention anything throughout the book. Option C, other books that are available on the subject have taken a different approach. There is no mention of other books. Option C, it covers a range of factors that affected the development of New York. Now let's come back. What are those range of factors? Second line, and a lot of data to explain. Factor number 1, why business clusters developed. Factor number 2, where they did. Factor number 3, and how the early decision of working and all that. So these are a range of factors, right? So correct answer for question number 27 is D. Have you found the range of factors, why, where, and all that? These are the factors. Question number 28. How does Chester respond to the information in the book about tenements? Now, Chester respond means answer. Information in the book about tenements. We did this word tenements. Look for tenements. Tenements. Okay. So see, where do you find the word tenements? You will find tenements in third paragraph as well. Can you see the word tenements with star in third paragraph? We have the word tenements with star. If the word is unusual or if there is any terminology, they will translate it for you. So tenements, they have given the meaning down there. Tenement is a multi-occupancy building of any sort, but particularly a run-down apartment building or slum building. So tenement means an old, ugly building, right, and all that. Now, the question is what? How does Chester respond to the information in the book about tenements? Now, please come to third paragraph. I am going to read it from third line after Civil War. Found it? Both chapters are informative and well researched and set the stage for the economic analysis that comes later in the book. I would have liked Barr. Now, this is what the writer says. I would like. I would like means Catherine L. Chester is saying this because she's the writer. I would like Barr to expand upon this claim. It means Barr did not expand on this claim that existing tenements prevented skyscrapers in certain neighborhoods because likely no skyscraper developer was interested in performing the necessary slum clearance. Now, what she is saying is there is no more information about that. Just focus this sentence. I would have liked Barr to expand on his claim. Now, he made a claim. So, the writer of this book review wanted Barr to actually expand upon this claim. Now, look for some option. Option A. She describes the reasons for Barr's interest. Yes or no? No. Option B. She indicates a potential problem with Barr's analysis. Option C. She compares Barr's conclusion with that of other writers. Not at all. Option D. She provides details about the source of Barr used for his research. No. Correct answer is she indicates a potential problem with Barr's analysis. And what is that potential problem? That I would have liked Barr to expand on his claim. So Barr did not expand on his claim. That is the potential problem. Okay. So correct answer for question number 28 is option B. Now question number 29. What does Chester say about chapter 6 of the book? Now we go back and we see what does Chester say about chapter 6. Where is chapter 6? Okay, second page, third paragraph in the middle, chapter 6. Found it? Okay. Chapter 6 then presents data on building height throughout the 20th century and uses regression analysis to predict building construction. While less technical than the research paper on which the chapter is based, it is probably more technical than would be preferred by a general audience. Look here. What does she say? She says it is very technical. Read this line. It is probably more technical than would be preferred by a general audience. If I have no knowledge about buildings and architecture and I read that, I will not understand. Okay. So they say that chapter 6 is based. It is probably more technical than would be preferred by general audience. Now come back. Option A. It contains conflicting data. Yes or no? No. Option B. It focuses too much on possible trends. No. Option C. It is too specialized for most readers. Now come back. Too specialized for most readers. And what is the word for too specialized for most readers? They said it is probably more technical than would be preferred by a general audience. More technical than would be preferred by a general audience. Means what general audience prefers, it is more technical than that. So that is option C. It is too specialized for most readers. Question number 30. What does Chester suggest about the chapters focusing on 1920s building boom? So Chester suggests something and chapters focusing on 1920s building boom. Look for 1920s building boom. Second last paragraph. Well done. So, chapter 8 and 9 focus on the birth of Midtown and building boom of the 1920s. Chapter 8 contains lengthy discussions of urban economic theory that may serve as a distraction to reader primarily interested in New York. So, that chapter is a distraction for a reader who is interested in New York. Now, please come back. What does Chester suggest about chapters focusing on this thing? Option A. Information should have been organized differently. No. Option B. More facts are needed about the way construction was financed. No. Option C. Explanation that is given for the building boom is unlikely. No. Some parts will have limited appeal to certain people. Try to understand. Some parts will have limited appeal to certain people means That may serve as a distraction to readers. Now, certain people are readers primarily interested in New York. So, those certain people are readers who are primarily interested in New York. So, question number 30, correct answer is D. Okay, one last question, 31. What impresses Chester the most about the chapter on land values? Now, chapter on land values and what impresses? Last paragraph. Okay. In the final chapter, chapter 10, Bart discusses another of his empirical papers that estimates Manhattan land values. Now, what impressed her more? In the 19th to the present day, the data work that went into these estimations is particularly impressive. Now, what is impressive? Data work. And towards the end of the chapter, Bar assesses and all that. Data work is actually good. Now, option A, what impresses Chester? Option A, broad time period that is covered? No, she talks about data work. Option B, interesting question that Bar asks? No. Option C, the nature of research into the topic. And what is the nature of research? Data work. Data work is the nature of research. It's the type of research, okay? Option D, recommendations Bar makes for the future? No. So, what impresses Chester is the nature of research into the topic, and that nature of research is data work, right? Good.